And so I think it's important that you understand the clinical trial process. I'm not saying that the pill is bad. I just want you to think about how to make health decisions for yourself. You want to be especially vigilant, especially staying on top of it. Once I got the information I needed, I started to move in that direction about how to make health decisions for yourself.
In your mind, what would you say to brothers that's not vaccinated or just people in general?
I'm glad to hear you are protected, and thanks for being so honest here on Keeping It 100, because that's what we do. Hey, welcome to Keeping It 100, where we have these open and honest conversations to make sure you have all the information you need to make good health decisions. I am your host, Dr. Kristin Motley. And as always, we have a really good show for you. If you think of questions while we're on, please put them in the chat. My dear friend and colleague, Dr. Tyan Thomas, is behind the scenes. She is going to take care of you. So give us a holler, give us a shout out. Let us know y'all listening. If you have questions, you know she's going to answer them. Let's bring in my amazing co-host, Mr. Georgie Mink Jr. What up, G?
I'm back. What's going on, Doc?
Hi, how you doing?
What's going on?
Wait, is this the first show with us for 2023? Like live?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I know we did some recorded shows, and I know.
Oh, you mean the live? You know what? I think it is.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, what's going on? I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. It's Wednesday.
That's like you never left, right?
Yeah, you know. What's going on? We're still in the saddle, Doc.
Oh, that's a good thing. Yo, it's February. It's American Heart Month. We met a few days ago, and I was like, February, we're going to do a heart show every week. I'm going to do smoking. We're going to we're going to be lit for February. We're going to do all this heart stuff. And in the day, I was like, oh, snap. It's February 1st. I don't have nothing ready for these people.
Yeah, it was a day away. We didn't even know it.
I had a whole February plan. So let me just throw something at y'all real quick. So it is American Heart Month. I want to remind you that blood pressure is a silent killer. It means that you don't know you have it until it's too late for a lot of people. And it don't have to be that way. Get your blood pressure checked. Know your numbers. If you are not on blood pressure medicine, your blood pressure should be 120 over 80. If you're not on blood pressure medicine, your blood pressure should be 120 over 80 or less. If it's not there, it's not all right. Talk to your doctor, talk to a pharmacist, talk to somebody about ways to lower your blood pressure. Having high blood pressure doesn't mean you have to automatically go on meds. It's a lot of things you can do on your own, but you got to do something. It is heart disease is the number one killer for Americans, including Black people. So we got to do better with our heart. Now, the next weeks, we're going to have a bigger conversation about heart disease, but that's all I can pull together real quick because I forgot it was February already. So, yeah. G, do you know your blood pressure?
No. I actually, I have a blood pressure machine though. Do they work, Doc?
They work if you use it right, and they work if you use it. Okay. Put some batteries in it, pull it out, dust it off, put some fresh energizers in it, and
no, I'm serious. I really didn't know if they were accurate. Like I heard that some of the machines aren't that accurate, and
so they work. You just need to use it. So put your batteries in it and use it, please.
Okay.
Dr. Thomas, did you want to weigh in on that? I don't know if you have your patients check their blood pressure at home.
Yeah, the newer ones definitely work. I'd have to look at the data because sometimes the wrist ones aren't as accurate. So you should get the one that wraps around the arm. But yeah, they work pretty well. But I think, like you said, the big thing is to use it. So, but yeah.
Okay, all right, we got you. Okay.
We got you double team. I had to double team.
When you check it, just make sure you don't drink coffee right before checking it because coffee can raise it up a little bit. And then like right after smoking. So you want to make sure you're checking it at like the best time to check it to make sure you're getting a good number. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Come through, Dr. Thomas.
Right. Wow.
Yes. So I actually use the wrist cuffs at health fairs, especially because it's hard to have a large cuff for people that need a extra large cuff. And usually, like, I just calibrate it against myself. So if I use an arm one and a wrist one, and the numbers are within 2 points, then I say that it works. And I haven't had an issue with the wrist one before. But I suppose there are some arm ones and some wrist ones that may not be good quality. But you need to do something. Don't just not do anything. So, G, batteries, check your blood pressure, and text me your number, please.
Okay. I'm gonna do it today. I mean,
all right, cool.
I might even feel myself doing it.
Okay, I'll take you. I'll
call
take
me
you
up on that. You can call me up on, and you're gonna see me tomorrow. So it's not like you can catch me in a little white lie or something. So yeah.
I'm gonna look in your eyes. I'm gonna look in your eyes.
Nah, but you're right, Doctor. You're right.
All right.
I'll catch up on it.
Thank you very much. We have an ice skating event tomorrow. We may be giving away a blood pressure cuff. I got to see if it came. But anyway, we have an ice skating event at Harris tomorrow. This event is sold all the way out. I had to shut down registration. I was like, wait a minute, we ain't going to be able to accommodate all these people. But we're going to have a good time. It's going to be a great, great time. Lots of great giveaways and just good company and good vibes. So looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow at Harris.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Are you going to ice skate?
Not at all. No.
Have you ever been ice skating before?
Yes.
And you don't like it?
I went, I think for my birthday a couple years ago, and I could not stand up. Yeah. And I used to roller skate, but see, ice skating is another different type of balance.
It's a new level.
And I had the little whole thing, and man, I could not stay up. No, you're not getting that laugh tomorrow. Oh no, I'm not making. I'm not making nobody memes, bloopers, none of that stuff. I will see you on the ice and wave. I'll be the practitioner from the side, not on the ice.
Yo, that's funny. All right, I ain't mad at you. Well, I'm glad you got it in at least once.
Right.
And practice makes perfect. So
that's true.
Although you may not have been good at it one time, like the first time you did it, the more you do it, the more you'll get better at it.
You're so inspirational.
Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged.
Happy Black Heritage Month to you too.
Oh my gosh, Black History Month.
Can the adults use the little hand things on the ice?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, if you have to. Yeah, you better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Put the whole family on. Everybody, hold on and go around the ring.
Yeah, why not?
Wait a minute, it's Black History Month. I'm slipping, y'all. I just got a lot going on. I don't know what's wrong with me. But happy Black History Month. The theme for this year is Black resistance. I am here for that theme. I am all the way here for it. I was trying to tie it to health. I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet, but I'm gonna think of something by the end of the month. It might be February 28th, but it's coming. It's coming. Are you doing anything special? Is the school doing anything special for Black History Month?
Actually, we kicked it off today with Carol Kazim.
Oh, nice.
She came to the school.
What a great way.
And we just basically we want to use the dynamic of like neighborhood heroes.
Yes.
Like we want to go into the concept of just finding our own, we don't have to find the Benjamin Banneker's and Martin Luther King's every year. We have our own national Black heroes around us every day.
Right in our community.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so Doc, we might bring you up next.
Nah, Mr. Bro, you the hero. The hero. I mean, it's so
many. They see me every day, but I'm saying.
But they don't know your story.
No, they don't.
Those kids will be inspired by that. So I would definitely put in a nomination. Who I gotta call? Mr. Clark.
One of them big wigs. They know me though.
George on the list for the hero of the day.
I spoke today though. I spoke on Carol's behalf.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, it was monumental though. It was a nice day, and like I said, it's people that the kids can actually reach and touch, and it's a realistic thing.
That's awesome.
So even with you, Doc, you might inspire some females, to do what you do. You're a doctor and pharmacist and all these quality things. You might inspire a young lady to do that.
I would love to.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
They have to see us. They have to see us. They have to.
Shout out to Leslie. Leslie was in the building. You
Hey,
know,
Les.
shout out to Sis, handling business on the Kazim team.
CEO. She got a whole bunch of jobs. So
Yo,
yeah, Les all over the place.
That's
everywhere.
Awesome. That's awesome.
But no, it was a good thing, Doc. You know,
That's
like it's a good thing. You know, so we just gonna keep the energy going. I mean, our kids do need to see us on the front line, and we the everyday heroes. So that's how I look at it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, that's good. I like that. I remember growing up in Chester, and Black History Month was just always great. Like our teachers, like we had a lot of Black teachers, and you know, the teachers that weren't Black, it was just a lot that we did to acknowledge our past, our present. It was a great time. So we celebrated, you know, or we at least acknowledged throughout the whole year, like all the time. But it was a kick up, you know, like a little booster dose in February.
I like that, Doc. Okay.
Speaking of boosters.
I like that. Fly right in there. Let's go.
I ain't got nothing. I thought that'd be funny. I want to tell you, so you gave me an idea a while ago. You told me to create like a little cartoon to put on handouts and stuff like that says like Doc says. Well, let me tell you, I have been working on it.
Really?
And the avatar is done. I have like a little cartoon. We're going to officially show it tomorrow.
I like that.
Cartoon, 18.
I want one. Okay.
Shut up. It's not something you just get. It's going to be on the handouts.
Okay. All right.
So the picture in the bottom is the one that I gave the cartoon artist. It's when I was pregnant with Noah. I was a little juicy.
Okay.
And then that's what he did. I was like, oh, okay, you did a good job. So you'll see that on the handouts that's created now, so that people can see who is writing it, who's saying it. And I think that may help it resonate with people a little bit more. So that was a good idea. You full of good ideas. You always put me to work, but it's all good.
Yeah, I like that, Doc. That's a good idea.
Thank you. You did good. So yesterday we were at Catholic Social Services in Chester. I had never been here before, but this is an organization that provides outreach to people in the community. Yesterday they provided free breakfast. It was pretty cool. But Kristin was, I had to go to work. And so she came help and got people registered. One of the new pharmacists on the team, Jamie, came in to help with the vaccines. And then Chef Lamont was there to serve breakfast. And boy, he was outside cooking on the grill. He was going to work. It was a really, really, really good time yesterday. We had some videos. Les, you can pop them up as we got any pancakes up? Then we have some of the vaccines. Good. That was good. All right. So who's buried there? So it finally came out. The government is going to stop paying for COVID tests, treatments, and vaccines. The date is May 11th. So we knew this was coming. Now COVID is not gone. So this is not a sign that COVID is going away. So they're going to stop paying. We still have about 500 people die every day from COVID, but it's just not as crazy as it was when it first started. So the government is transitioning out of the emergency phase of COVID and putting it back into the hands of regular health insurance and the ways that people get access to healthcare, however that is. Now, I also want to mention that long COVID is a thing that happens once you have COVID and the infection is clear. You may still have some symptoms for years, for weeks, depending on how bad your infection was. And these things can impact your heart. It can impact your lungs. It can impact the way that you think. People often talk about having brain fog. And so, COVID is rampant. It's still doing its thing. People can have long COVID and symptoms for months and years. And the government is now saying it's time for them to transition and not cover COVID vaccines, COVID testing, and COVID treatment. They didn't want to abruptly stop this. So I do appreciate the warning. So we got about 3 months to kind of get ourselves together. But I just still feel like I don't know. Like, how do you feel about it, Jay?
I think it's time. I'm gonna be honest.
That's some really good perspective from you.
I think it's time. I think there's enough information out there. Everybody, whoever needed data on any information, you had ample time to stay on top of this thing and catch up. And I mean, it's been free for what, 2 to 3 years?
Yeah.
I mean,
but what about people that don't have insurance?
It's the same thing as the people that don't have insurance for all the other issues. It just adds to the list. Not saying that it's okay, but I'm just saying everything we already knew it was going to come to an end anyway.
That's true.
So it's not like they're just going to let you just keep getting free COVID tests and screenings and vaccinations for how long? I think it's time. It's time.
Do you think that the government should be paying for healthcare in general, or that
I actually do? I'm a big fan of Canada. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Canada for that reason. Like, I always wanted to move to Canada because I believe that they really believed in their people and they just take care of their residents and that, So I feel like we should do the same thing, but it's like we're more about money, and I feel like it definitely was going to go down to the money situation, and it's probably that's what it's boiling down to. But I feel like it's time for the move on from the COVID as far as the freebie stuff. I mean, they gave us enough time to catch up. And I know that's kind of against what you feel it, Doc, but
so many people don't have insurance. What are they going to do when a new booster comes out and it's $100? What are they going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, G?
I'm gonna pay for it. But when
everybody can't afford to pay
that's
for
true.
it.
But guess what? I don't have insurance now. So like, what if it's not COVID? What if it's something else? So the issue is bigger than just the COVID. For the people that don't have insurance.
It absolutely is.
So I feel you, Doc. What you think? How long it should go? You just finish off the rest of the year?
This shouldn't be a non-conversation. Paying for healthcare for anything is just ridiculous to me. I don't even get started.
But it was going to catch up, Doc. There's no way you didn't know that COVID. We talked about this even last year. That it's just you got to catch up because we know it's just a matter of time. This is what we on the show for, to give people the information.
I know.
We big business. The only thing I can agree with you on is that COVID did come from nowhere. So, and they still should be responsible somewhat of taking care of that for us. Like, don't give up yet to a certain degree. But
they should be paying for everything.
But
I should not have to go to the pharmacy and pay $500 copay for a prescription. Like, it should not even be a thing.
Right, that's true.
We in America, what can we expect?
That's why we really once we really start getting the big bucks this year, we're gonna come up with it.
We're gonna come up with the health educated.
We're gonna come up with our own payment plans, and we're gonna come up with some good stuff for the people, Doc. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh!
But you're a woman of the people.
You are right. We knew this was coming up. You was actually interviewed by WHYY 2 weeks ago about this very issue because we didn't have a date. About 2 weeks ago when this article came out, we didn't have a date, but you did participate in this interview and you got a lot of coverage. And I don't think we really got a chance to highlight that. So I just want to show some pictures of how you got all this coverage.
Hey, what's going on? That's me.
You did a really good job. I was like, look at George looking like he working. What was you doing?
That was a pose, but
you look
it was interesting though.
And look at my little shot. Look, that's what I got. A couple sentences.
It still meant something. You set me up.
It's all good. It was great.
We definitely talked about this topic though, and I knew. Again, I've seen it coming. Health coverage is like big business. And that's what that's the direction. That's where it's at. Even people with coverage still got paid. Like my mom had to go to the hospital and the coverage only paid for a certain amount of visits a certain amount of stays at the hospital, which is weird.
It is crazy.
So no matter how long you really have to stay, they only gonna cover you for one night anyway. So God forbid you gotta stay an extra night or 2 or 3, then you coming out your pocket with coverage.
Yeah, so. I was in hospital for 3 days with Noah. I had to pay $400 a day. And guess who's still paying on that bill? And he's 3 years old, me, because I'm not paying y'all all at one time. No, y'all gonna get $10 a month. And if I gotta pay that for the rest of my life, that's what y'all gonna get, because it's just too much. Like, no, I'm not paying it all at one time. I need my money. Anyway, don't get me started on healthcare.
No, Doc, I'm sorry.
All right, so let's go on to COVID boosters. So the youngest children can now get the new bivalent Omicron COVID boosters. So I was excited to see this. And this is for kids that are aged 6 months to 5 years old. So the booster is now available for the youngest kids. And I'm going to read who is eligible for a booster, because it's a little bit tricky. So kids 6 months to 5 years old can get the booster, like I said, if that child received 2 doses of the Moderna vaccine at least 2 months ago, or if that child received 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. The Moderna vaccine was always 2 doses for the small kids. The Pfizer vaccine is 3 doses. So if the child got 2 doses of the Pfizer, they can get the new booster. But if the child already got all 3 doses of the Pfizer, there's no booster that's available for them just yet. So you know how I do. I don't follow none of the rules. Noah got 2 doses of the Pfizer, and I didn't go back for the 3rd dose because I just wanted I wanted to spread his doses apart, because I was reading that if you waited longer between the doses, you get better protection. So I was just doing my own thing. So he didn't get his 3rd dose of the Pfizer yet. So I'm glad that he didn't, because now he can get a booster.
Right.
And that makes me happy that he'll get some Omicron protection, because that's what's out in circulation now. So parents, get all your childs, get them all vaccinated, please. Also wanted to mention, and this is some comforting information, that the FDA pulled EvoShield's authorization for the prevention and treatment of COVID-19. So EvoShield is a monoclonal antibody. And what that means is that it's just used to prevent COVID for people that can't get the vaccine because they just have like a bad, they may have like a bad allergic reaction to it, or people that have a weak immune system and they can't make enough of their own antibodies to protect them. So giving a person the EvoShield is like giving them the antibodies directly. It is giving them the antibodies directly. And it was effective until all these mutations became about. And now with so many variants, it's not effective anymore. And so because it's not effective anymore, the FDA is saying we can't use it anymore. And so that was comforting for me to know that the FDA and other regulatory agencies and the scientists are still keeping an eye on all this stuff, and that they're not just letting people take meds just because it's approved. And so I thought that was great to hear, that they're still on it. They're not just letting things just go just to get paid or just to get money. And that was comforting to me. G, what you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, it's kind of their job, though. So, man,
it is. But when you look at a lot of people who don't have trust in the government and the drug companies and all that, and they're like, I'm not getting vaccinated because they don't know what they're doing, or I don't trust them, or whatever, you see that they are keeping an eye on these things and they're making decisions in response to what's happening. Right. And so that to me, that's comforting. So I hope that for people that, are still not vaccinated, that's still like, I don't know if I can trust them, feel some comfort that they're, still keeping an eye on these things. Right. Did you want to say anything about that, Dr. Thomas?
Just that I agree with what you're saying, like that we have processes in place. And so it was an emergency use authorization. So it was needed for the time. And now the data shows it's not working. So they pulled the authorization. So I agree. It just shows that the process is working, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
I just think that to piggyback off what you and Dr. Tyne is saying, COVID just taught us a lot of things. I mean, you put everybody in the overdrive. It made everybody stop where they were at, pay a 100% attention because it was taking over the world, or it took over the world. And I feel like it did open their eyes, and it put them in a mode where we have to stay focused. We have to stay on top of this. It redirected everybody. So it's comforting to know that they're paying attention to the numbers. It's still new. So regardless, whatever, even though we 2-3 years in almost, it's new. And I mean, people have already put this stuff in their system. We continue to keep adding booster onto boosters. So now it's, they're just making it an everyday thing. So they have to keep checking the numbers. The only thing I'm scared about, or I'm curious about, is the babies. Like how many, even though it's approved for 6 months, like how many kids are getting COVID at 6 years old? I mean, are the numbers high?
Kids get it. They just don't get as sick as adults get. So They are getting it. I mean, I can't remember the latest numbers, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the last time I looked, and this was months ago, about 900 kids died from COVID-related symptoms. And although that's a very small percentage of children, I don't want to have to be one of those 900 who is at a funeral for my child for COVID when COVID has a vaccine. And so that's one of the reasons that I decided to get Nora vaccinated, because I waited a long time. I mean, I talked about it on the show. I waited because I wanted to make sure that it was safe and that, like I have issues. It's like everybody else. I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman too. So
you don't trust
take off all these titles and degrees. I just go back to my
roots. You just go back to right.
I go back to my roots and I'm like, but I got through it. So so it's not as dangerous in kids as it is for adults, but it's still a risk. And it's because we have vaccines available for the youngest ones, it's encouraged to get them protected, because you just don't know who it's going to happen to, who is going to be the child that passes away from COVID. It's not an easy decision. I totally get it. But I definitely wanted to decrease the risk of my kids as much as I possibly could. Ryan, did you want to say anything about that? I know you have 3 boys.
Honestly, just to say the same thing that you already said as well. Like I do trust the vaccines, and I believe in that saying, a ounce of prevention is worth a pound of treatment. So just better to, prevention where you can. But I do also like the approach of like waiting to see what pops up in like early, rollouts of the vaccine. And, it showed that it was safe and not many side effects. So for me, that just really tipped the scale to say the benefit outweighed the risks for me when we did our evaluation. So I agree with everything you said.
Okay. All right. Good to know I'm in good company. Sometimes my thinking be off, but I'll be like, what are you out of your mind? So thanks, Dr. Thomas, for that. The last thing I want to talk about today is I want to go back to this iron and baby food thing. I've been reading more about it. I mean, not iron, lead and baby food. I've been reading more about it, and just more information is coming up. So if you don't know, if you haven't heard, the FDA set out new guidance to limit the amount of lead that's in baby food, like the pouches, the jars, baby food like that. And I want to remind you that we know that no amount of lead is safe, especially in small kids with developing brains, especially in little ones. I would say probably 2 and younger. It's especially important that you limit their exposure to lead, which is why it's a whole thing where you don't want to have them in a house where there's lead paint. And we now, I don't know when the regulations change, but they remove lead from gas. And so gas is unleaded because we're, trying to limit exposure that we all have to lead. It's especially important in young kids. When kids are exposed to higher levels of lead, they have learning disabilities. You see higher rates of autism and ADHD and ADD, behavior problems, IQ problems. It's a whole entire thing. So one question that I had about this was like, why is lead in our food? Like, why is it in kids' food? And we talked about this a little bit last week, because it's just in the soil. Like, lead is in the soil. And so when you are growing produce, fruits and vegetables, it's in the soil, it's in the environment. So it's not reasonable to expect zero lead, but you want to limit exposure as much as possible. So the new guidance coming out from the FDA is limited to the lead component to a maximum of 10 parts per billion for commercially produced fruits, vegetables, mixtures with grain and meats, yogurts, pudding, baby foods like that. Now, 10 parts per billion is the same as like 10 cents of $1 million. So that's a little bit, 10 cents in $1 million is a little bit, which is like really like hardly none, but there's still some. And remember, no amount of lead is good for children, especially small children. And when you look at a place like Chester, that's already plagued with so many environmental toxins and pollution in the air and the water because of the industries in the city, our kids in Chester don't need more exposure to lead. So as much as they can limit it, the better they'll be, because that's something that the parents can control to an extent. You can't always control where you live and what's around you and all the companies that are around you polluting the environment, but you can control what your children eat. And one thing that Stacy said last week, who's a dietitian, she said if you can eat local produce, so go to Produce Junction and places like that, because those farmers often test their soil for lead and other heavy metals, and that's a good thing, because they want to have a good reputation. And so they test their soil. So if you can buy local produce from a produce store like a Produce Junction or Eddystone Produce, you could probably ask if the places where they get their produce from, do the farmers test, and what are those levels? G, what you think?
I'm just thinking, wow, like, so we just figuring this out?
That's a good question. No, we have known this for decades. This is not anything new. We've known this for decades, but I don't remember what prompted the FDA to decrease the limit more. I know that the Biden administration has a zero something policy. I can't remember. Dr. Thomas, you may be more informed, or you may be able to pull something up about it, but it's like a zero impact something. And so it's a part of his administration's push to get to zero something. I think. I might be wrong. I might be mixing up the gas story with the list.
I'm trying to find it. I'm looking at.
Because the gas stoves is a whole nother.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm like, wait, but I'm going this way and that way. What's going on?
Yeah, so I can't remember what prompted this from the FDA to limit it, but it's not a new thing. Like, we've known that lead has been in the environment and other heavy metals have been in the environment, but for some reason they want to push it lower, and I'm here for it, because our kids don't need anything else to work against the development of healthy brains. So as close as we can get to zero lead in the food, I'm here for it. But again, that's not reasonable, because lead is all around us. It's in the soil. You can't get it out the soil. All right. I think those are the news alerts I got.
Wow. It was good stuff, though.
I hope somebody was helped. So again, the government is about to cut out all this COVID stuff. So if you need tests, you can get them by going to covidtest.gov, or you can call 1-800-232-0233 to get all your tests. Get as many as you can get now, because it's about to get cut off. If you have health insurance, you can get up to 8 free tests from the pharmacy every month. Just go to the pharmacy counter, tell them to process the COVID test like it's a prescription. They'll do it. You don't pay anything out of pocket, and you can get 8 per person on that insurance plan. So it's February 1st. I'm going to need to go to CVS today to go get my 8 for everybody in this house. And then I'm going to go every month until May so I can maximize on all my benefits. But yeah, that's all. So everybody remember to protect yourself. COVID is still out here. Get vaccinated. Stay up to date on all your boosters. We are hosting a free COVID vaccine clinic at Murphy AME Church on 7th and Yarno this Sunday from 12:30 to 2:30. So if you have not gotten your vaccine, if you need a first dose, I'm really looking for first and second dose people. Like those are my favorites because that means that you decided to get vaccinated, and that makes me happy. So, but I love the boosters too, because you got to stay up. And if you know somebody that's 65 or up and have not gotten a booster, bring them. They need to get their booster. I am recommending they get their booster. Bring them over to Murphy on 7th and Yarno in Chester, 12:30 to 2:30. We'll be there with all the COVID vaccines for anyone age 5 and up. Oh,
Leslie. Oh,
day.
If you come, I'm getting you a steak dinner.
Listen, I need all my first shots to come through because the last 3 we did were all boosters. And I'm like, I know people need their first and their second doses. I need y'all to come through because these vaccines are not going to be free after May 11th. And the one prices I saw a few months ago, one of the prices I saw was about $110. Nobody has extra money for no COVID shot. So get your COVID shots now while they're free so we can live our best lives. We will see y'all tomorrow at Harrah's. It's a sold out event. I didn't even know that was going to happen. Ooh, cha. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Make sure y'all tune in next week, 12:15, right here. We're going to do a heart show. I don't know what yet.
Let's go. Let's go, Doc. Heart to heart. Have a good one, Doc.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. I'm glad you are protected, and thanks for being so honest here on Keeping It 100 because that's what we